Thank you. As they set up the system, I want to acknowledge the presence of Joel Wawuru, Chair DBA, Madam Nakchare and IWAT team, the other complaints commissioners in here. I saw Judy Kaberia, Executive Director, Amwick, and others. So thank you, and all the other representatives feel welcome. Now we get into the reason we are gathered here today. The State of the Media Survey 2021, performed under Article 6 of the Media Council Act, that we need to carry out an annual survey of the public perception of the media and publicize the report. Kitu tumewacha ni kwamba in 2 newspapers of national circulation. So kwa vile nimesema hapo na Gitarama hata nikumbusha kwamba tupeleke huko, but we at least publicize the report. And I want to also add that the report remains public for consumption, especially from stakeholders. I will not bother with that. We used questionnaires to collect data on the ground across all 47 counties. I want to stress that we had a contract with a research company, but we mirrored it with our in-house team. We have more than 70 researchers as staff members across the country, so we mirrored that. And we also validated with at least 2 universities. The whole idea is that, because going down, I need to stress that this research is fully funded by the Media Council, with the funds allocated by the government, appropriated through Parliament. Because right on, when we will say nani yako 70%, mwingine 30%, we do not expect people to complain. And number 2 is that if anyone, that is public knowledge, will want to access the raw data as deep as you want, the forms that people filled and all that, it is available. So we are going to present figures here. We will say who was better and all that, but it's a research that we are ready to stand by and present any information anyone will need. The research was done between November 30 and December 19, and we had 3,589 respondents against a target of 3,500 respondents. That is basically, we broke down the guys to their religion. We had even 4 atheists here. We had SDA, Muslim, Protestant, Catholic, employed, unemployment, and all that. We broke that, the levels of education. The PhDs were not very excited about the research. Only 3 people spoke to us. Wengine wakakata. Prof, I think we have 2 PhDs, or at least 3 in this room. Please encourage the other guys to participate in research. This time as respondents. You know, a problem of PhD holders, they like asking questions. So wakiulizwa maswali wataki kufuata. This time wambia wakiulizwa hata wanajibu. Broadcast media consumption. Most important is that there is, I want you to note the dates, November 30 to December 19. Those who follow politics, there was a bit of noise. The number of people who said, I do not watch TV, shot up from 26% in the year 2020 to 42% in the year 2021. That's a very high number of people who said. Remember in 2019, 2020 we had 27, then 26, but now it went up. But just to know that that was around some time when people are protesting about balance in TVs, people are biased and all that. It's a political season, so sometimes the findings are a little abnormal from what normally would be. So 42% of Kenyans say they do not watch TV, and 26 say they do not listen to radio. 58% they consume TV content on a typical day. That's about 16 million Kenyans. We had 72% the previous year. Northeastern and all Nyanza and Coast region do not consume TV content. Northeastern, not necessarily for political reasons. Sometimes it's about having access to the TVs. the matter of universal access, electricity, and having the set-top boxes. The people averagely spend 2 hours. Global average is 3 hours. I will skip that because we are going to have more figures. That is a summary. I will go to the real one. That is now a breakdown. Less than 30 minutes, 30 minutes to 1 hour, 1 to 2 hours, 3 to 4 hours, more than 6 hours. Na ni wengi more than 6 hours. Those are very idle. When you spend 6 hours watching TV, either you don't sleep or you don't work. But then we have the number of I do not watch TV. How do people access set-top box, the free-to-air? Nowadays they have the digital TVs that at least have several local channels. Online platform, you can see there's about 4%. Those are the guys who use YouTube and all that. The 20% are the people who use pay TV, Sky, DSTV, and those others. And then digital smart TV. You all know that nowadays the TVs come in with inbuilt set-top boxes. So that is a good percentage at an average of 13%. An important aspect now is the Kenyans' trust in foreign content. Up to 30% of Kenyans now rely on international and foreign content. Of course, if it's news, you know that the people will watch Al Jazeera, CNN, BBC, and the like. We will not roll out TV content includes Netflix that has come fairly popular, isn't it? And the supporters of football, that remains foreign, isn't it? So we have, that is 30%. And you'll notice that even in rural areas, we have up to 18% of the people watching that. So that means that even the people, there is a lot of interest in international content. Now, these TV stations were mentioned in at least one of the 3 most watched TV stations by respondents. How we framed our question was, which 3 TV stations do you watch? So we do not ask someone which one do you love and all that. That way then we had, everybody would mention 3, then you sample and see which has been mentioned more. Citizen TV, I'm doing the overall, 78%. KTN Home, 31%. NTV, 27%. That is, there's an improvement. I think last year we were at around 2021. Then we have Inoro. I want to mention KBC, 8%. I think last year we were talking 2 to 3% KBC, if you remember. So there has been a lot of Kituo cha Baba na Mama. There has been a lot of improvement. There is something they are doing right, continue doing it. Kama ni wale veterans waliletwa, ama ni rumba ilirudishwa, something like that. But there's an increment. Most important, there is something called other channels below pale, 42%. And this will interest Bwana Wawero, is around DBA. We promise that the next research we release in May will break down the other channels. Because when we have 42 watching channels that are not here, then it means that there is we need to break them down so that we can benefit that. So we hope that our research tools will allow us to break down the others into specifics to help the advertisers and people placing messages. Radio is 74%. People, 74% of Kenyans consume radio. That's 21 million people. Not much different from last year. Radio is 2 hours, higher than the global average. Remember, for TV was 2 hours lower than the global average, which is 3 hours. But radio, we are higher because globally, I think most people listen to radio while they drive to the office or while they move from place to place. In Kenya, people will listen to the radio wakiwa kwa shamba or when they go to the market and all that. So our radio listenership is higher. Northeastern is very low, but 57. Coast 63, and Nairobi 69. Watu wa Nairobi wana watch TV, not much of radio. Of course, you don't want to guess where radio inasikizwa sana. Do you want to guess? Maybe Western. You will notice something, that people watch news, 93%, 96% is entertainment, isn't it? And entertainment is anything, if it is, do you call it something Spatanisha or whatever, and all the drama, the stuff they put in the morning. 72 is local, 28 is foreign content. 5 radio stations were mentioned. I want to see whether I have a better presentation of that. If there isn't, I'll go back so that I'm not running away from that. Still, we have Radio Citizen 27, Radio Jampo 22, Kameme 15, Radio Maisha 13, KBC Radio at 11. Still a major improvement from 4% last year, so something good is happening. But I want to mention something here. If you notice the results of last year, we had the leading radio almost at 70% and another coming down at 30-something. You notice that now the competition is very close. It's 27, 22, 15, 13, 11. That shows that there is a variety and people are learning. Because last year's results were very, the range between the most listened to and the second one was very wide. So there is a, I don't know whether it's variety or it's duplication or it's the demographics. The consumers think that they can, if they miss one thing, they can do another. My perspective, I think, is because of too much copycat. Sometimes if the radio does not put their signature tune, you will not know which is which. It is either a relationship talk at some point, across any, you land on any, it is the same thing, unless you know specifically who it is. Or we have some chit chat. I think a lot of vernacular radios are very notorious for putting waganga and witchcraft stuff. Those who listen know that. We have a problem around areas of Busia and the like, and Ukambani, and now parts of the coast. So there's a lot of copycat content, isn't it? I think one of the reasons of the averages is about the content. Nobody is really diverse. Because when we had a lot of diversity, I think then everybody must have copied what the leading was doing. Sasa karibu wamefikiana. I do not listen to radio. Of course, you can see they are 28%. But the beautiful thing is that then the remaining 74%, they listen a lot of radio. 2 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes. Of course, we have the more than 6 hours. It would seem strange, but if you imagine our demographics, there are people who go to the farm with their radio, isn't it? The others go to herd their cattle with their radio. And if you're on a long drive, you listen to radio, keep changing and all that. So, and the 6 hours, there are people who stay home and the radio is on all the time. So it shouldn't seem like we are full-time radio consumers. It's just because, for those who have done mass communication and media consumption, radio can accompany you as you do your business. I believe that maybe when Gitagama in the office, people can radio kadogo, sometime you can switch on, do stuff, hata kwa simu pia. So there's, that explains why we have up to more than 6 hours, 5 to 6 hours and all that. How is radio content consumed? Set-top box, free to air, digital platform. FM radio consumers 85%, because you know the set-top box and Yiko TV has radio channels, but mostly people have FM channels and a bit of the digital apps. Sometimes they are not very reliable, digital apps on radio, but a few people who have the apps are able to screen. They are not very reliable. They do a lot of buffering and all that, but they. How is it accessed across regions? Set-top box, of course, utapata imejaja central, a bit of northeastern, Nairobi. What you will realize set-top box is because most, if not all, set-top boxes have TV and radio. So nobody really buys a set-top box to consume radio alone. It's just that the channels there are distributed. But you see, most of the people are on FM radio. And then there is a digital app. I think there is this fine on it is confusing. The digital app ni kale kadogo kako huko mwisho. Foreign versus local TV, radio content, still the same. Radio is 28%. You notice that TV was 30%, isn't it? So on average, you could say about 30% of Kenyans appreciating international content. We are going to try to break it down later, whether it's sports or entertainment or Netflix and all that. We will hopefully try that. Our May 3rd findings will break down what this foreign content is. You know, we have, I think we have French, German, English, and Chinese now, isn't it? Do you have any other radio around, apart from the Tanzania's Radio Free Africa? I think that's basically what we have in radio. The China radio and television, France 24 radio and stuff like that. Of course, America VOA, Swahili and English, then the German Deutsche Welle and BBC. Those will be where this content is. Radio stations mentioned. Still, as I said, we framed the question asking people to mention the 3 most listened to. And as I said earlier, you notice that hakuna difference kubwa. In radio, others is 29%, that's about 30%. Still, a major number that can be broken. You will notice also that radio consumption is Swahili and vernacular. Our popular, the first English station, Diana Kochini at 3%, Kiss FM, then you will see Classic at 2%. But big percentages are up there. Kiswahili sana sana, Citizen, Jambo, then vernacular, then Maisha, KBC, and then we go down then to the Emos and Cass and all that and Ramogi. I want to note, we did not check this, but I think from last year, I think Ramogi has dropped considerably. If I remember well, last year Ramogi was up there with Kameme around 3 or 4. We can check the facts again. But not to say, but if you're doing radio, be vernacular or do Swahili, then you can deal with your little English audience. Newspaper. Only 25% of those interviewed consume newspaper. This was also the same number last year. And I think it was the same number the other year, so the drop has stopped. What wameshikilia hapo kidogo kidogo. Where do they get the newspaper from? 46% of those who read newspapers are the ones who buy. The others are online subscriptions, 26, that is a good number. But then tuko na wale wengine wanaenda kwa social places, na wale wanaenda kwa vendor. Na wale kwenda kwa vendor ndio wamefanya siku hizo, ukiona newspaper ikitoka bwana kitakama wanaweka stapler. Sana sana newspaper za ushago, they come with a stapler and a sticker, isn't it? To avoid people going and saying gazeti sijapeleka mahali. Mimi nimeangalia tu nikarudisha, not knowing that as long as they have consumed the content, then the value has gone. So I think that explains why we have the tendency to staple the newspaper or to put that. It looks like a branding thing, but tunajua ni ya kuzuia mtu asichukue asome kisha arudishe without paying. News, 73%. Purpose for newspapers is news. Politics, 61%, and sports, 47%. By politics, it's not necessarily news politics. We have also political commentaries, isn't it? And opinion pieces about politics. Many people will see, especially weekend papers, we have commentators, columnists who do politics, and it's not news. So, but it's still news. When you met the fellow bosses, was reduced budget ya newsroom sana. Bado newsroom ndio inauza hii, because you will see people who buy that for advertisements, lakini si wengi sana. Consumption. Daily Nation, 59%. And that is more than double the next one. Standard newspaper, 28%. And the People Daily, the one that we get free of charge, 5%. I don't know why people don't read the free paper. Ni town peke yake iko, because I expect everybody to be excited about that. Next slide. Online content. And here now we start appreciating new media, isn't it? The leader is Tuko News website, 34%. They followed by the Standard Group, 22, and NMG at 21. Wengine wako hapa chini. Newspaper readership nationally, 25% ndio wanasoma and 75 don't read. The urban area is 30% in town, but Ushago is 22%. And as you can see, our ladies still gazeti, our pendies are 16%. This figure has not changed over the past 2 surveys, around 25%. How do you access the preferred newspaper? Hard copy, 46%. I subscribe online. I read at the vendor's selling point. Mnaona kuna watu hapo wanasema wanaenda kwa mtu wanapigisha mtu akuuza gazeti story uongo, then they read. And then try to have free copies. And you will see the free copy is really aligned with the 5%. So we know we have one free circulation newspaper, isn't it? So apart from the 5% free circulation, we get then a few complimentary copies that are sent to strategic office. That's why you will see we're about an average of 5%. So ikatima paka 14% were social place and the vendor's place plus 11. Karibu almost 30% of Kenyans read newspapers for free. They go and wanakunywa chai, wanasoma gazeti. But okay, it's allowed. Hotels do that for their customers. I already said that. A notable increment. Taifa Leo. Kwanza urban area wamekuja 3%. It was almost invisible in the previous survey, isn't it? I was telling Bwana Gitagama that ule jamaa anaandikaga headline ya Taifa Leo apewe increment ya mshahara kidogo. The headlines, they can annoy people from time to time, but I think it does a good job, isn't it? And the others, we have almost 4% kule chini for the others. But you notice that then the others are not really much, isn't it? They don't excite people too much. People are stuck at the Nation Standard, the People Star, and Taifa Leo. Also, I love Taifa Leo because it promotes Kiswahili, national language. Reason for buying a newspaper. News, 73%. Politics. Sports. Classified, display and adverts, 25%. I know Bwanagwaro, the ministry publishes MyGov, where we have all government tenders and all that. That's where we do. I also saw an advert. Sizamani sana in one serious newspaper about kuja tukupatie ilizi ya kushinda tenda ya serikali, and it was in the paper. I do not know where that falls in ethics, whether we can advise that we have special magic to help you win a tender, we can pray for you to win a tender ya serikali. I do not know also how we want to treat where we see people saying adverts ya kurudisha mpenzi aliyepotea na muganga maalum kutoka Tanga. They are appearing again in the classifiers. Uko na number tudogo namna hii. We don't know how much ethics can get into that. But we have the advertisers code of ethics that we are discussing, because in one case actually we saw the advert about you'll be given some magic stick to win government tenders. It was there, it went round a bit. Many people would be interested in that. So I think notable is that features and adverts contribute to the newspapers, and obituaries remain. But you know, the strange thing about obituaries is that people who buy a newspaper for obituaries are the people who are part of the committee. Committee jana ilipitisha tuweke hii announcement ya mazishi kwa matanga, isn't it? So naomba mninunulie gazeti tuone kama iliwekwa. The other average Kenyan doesn't buy. It's usually very inward looking because the people in the committee or the family who knows that tutaweka kwa gazeti lini, itawekwa Wednesday. So the people who already know are the ones who look for that obituary. Is it true or false? Most of the people who know that it will be this day, they know the information to just confirm kwamba vile committee tuliambiwa tupitishe budget ya hiyo. I also noticed something. The last time I wanted to put an obituary, that obituaries you pay cash up front. You don't issue LPOs. Because you know when you lose loved ones, you can be very emotional. Usema tupatie 2 pages. Ikikuja kulipa inakuwa ngumu. So newspapers are very careful. Obituaries you pay before they put, because of the emotions around deaths. People can come and say, wekeni 1 page nitalipa, after the burial utajipanga. Websites visited. We have the general web browser, you know, the Google search and all that. But after that, then we have Tuko, and then the main pages, social media pages. We will get a slide about that, and international websites, and then the search engine and all that. So, and then you see at 2%. Is Ghafla. I don't know what happened to them. They were going up something. They are doing something wrong. I think there's a time they were at 7%. Kama kuna watu wa Ghafla hapa muambie they are doing something wrong. But also to note that because last year also the Media Council started accrediting online media entities, because you are a newspaper is a platform. If you choose internet as a platform, you get accredited, trained journalists, and verify your stories, because then it allows. I know. GA will tell us that they also advertise online as a media. So when you have a page in the newspaper, you can book also online. So it's a valid thing. And the mainstream media houses, they have now started offering full package, newspaper and our website, and Google Ads and all that. So people doing online advertising are not gutter press. As long as you meet the code of ethics and you align and you have your people accredited, then you have the media house also accredited, and I recognize that GAA, it's a media house. It's a media platform that is legally recognized. Internet usage. Okay, 35 TV, 31 radio, 24% social media, 4% friends and family. You know the gossipers in the village? People move from one household to another. Umesikia nini and all that. Yes, they are the people who spread most fake news. In the village, we used to call them the people who suffer from foot and mouth disease, moving from place to place. Of course, I'm not disputing that family is important and friends to tell you whether you have seen. I read the newspaper, nimeona kwa TV and all that. Social media entertainment, 64%. Then news and networking, 59 and 53. Social media, approximately 3 hours per day. Globally, it's 2 hours, 24 minutes. So we are a little more idle than the world, isn't it? We consume more than the global average, but not by much. WhatsApp, Facebook, and YouTube. Pako hapo. WhatsApp kamekuja. Simnaona? It has overtaken Facebook at 27%. But then 26% is Facebook. 16 is YouTube. So if you're a good politician and you keep winning Twitter polls and you lose on the ground, just know that you are being voted by your followers. Smartphones. I believe everybody in this room has a smartphone. Hata kama mtu akona kamulika mwizi ni kale ameficha wakati stima imepotea. 91%. So we access that. Computers, 34%. That's only when you're in the office. And 10% on normal phones. I will very easily say that even these normal phones, unajua mtu ajui smart nini, isn't it? Because if a phone can do a little more, it's generally a smartphone. And then smart TVs and watches, 2%. Time spent, especially watu wa urban, 3 hours. Uko kwa matatu, uko kwa mkutano kama hapa, half of the people must be on their smartphones. What do you use social media for? Entertainment is up there. Then news and information and networking. Then there are people, there's a good percentage, almost 25%. It's a bit of a learning and passing time. The people, you're just idle, so you want to pass time. I think we said that about smartphones, 90%, 91%. That's the same. WhatsApp, Facebook is the place to go if you want to do something serious. To what brings us here, what the Constitution requires us to do. Public perception of the media. Levels of trust. Summarized here. 24% have little or no trust. 23 have a lot of trust. 53 have some trust. That means that as last year, 76% of Kenyans trust the media. I know last year it was 77, 78, so we haven't lost much. So 76% of Kenyans trust the media. 24%, I'm surprised that the number did not go up, because the November 30 to December 19 is a time when we were having Vita za media, you remember, isn't it? So you can see that still, despite trying to incite people generally trust the media. Television is the most trusted, 69. Radio 68, websites 56. 12% wako na shida kidogo na media. 88% wanasema hata kama hatuwaamini lakini wanasaidia tu, you know. So you have an issue, but it is a source of information. Basically, a lot of our interest is what do Kenyans think about the work of the media. And it goes that then a lot of work that we will do at the Media Council in the coming months is about this, how to construct and reaffirm Kenyans' trust in the media, because then if people have no trust in the media, then what you're doing is a challenge. But we lost 1 percentage point, also attributed to the time when we did the survey. There had been, when a few politicians make such pronouncements, they tend to excite certain people, especially young people, and people can, especially the anonymous nature of surveys can make people move, but we are happy that it did not go down. We have had a decrease in the people who have trust in the media. So there's that general decrease, but still above 70. We wish it could go up to 80. We did not put a slide here. The last time we tried to compare people's perception of the media and religious leaders and government and all that, media still scores up there. There are certain areas where there is more decrease than media, so we're not doing so badly. But let's not compare ourselves with the failures. We will not put that here because then it's not within our purview. Main source of news remains television, followed by radio, family, newspapers, and social media. I think 12% of Kenyans have issues with the media. Wanapiga kelele sana, wanasema uongo, they are biased and all that. But 88% of Kenyans are comfortable with what the media is doing despite the challenges. So when a chairman Gitagama, you notice Simba 88%. Hiyo ni A. Ama inategemea ni shule gani? Yes, first class honors. And that's what I said, it's 2019, 11, 2020 was bad, 14%. 2021 is an improvement. Only 12% have issues. And then the issues they have are very genuine ones. Limited coverage of matters concerning rural areas. So would people like KBC, Switch TV, and others move across. There is a lot of unutilized space, too much political coverage, and biased content coverage, especially in politics. Allow me to comment here. One time we were doing a media information literacy session in Eldoret, and the community member said, wenda uambie Citizen, KTN na NTV wawache kuweka siasa mingi, hatutaki hiyo maneno. So I told them, na tuko na KBC na Switch TV na family ambao wana siasa simuochi, wakasema hapana, ambia hao wache. So I mean, it's a behavior pattern. People, they have all variety, because we have, at any one time we have not less than 90 TVs on. I think we have other, like we have a farmers TV, we have a youth TV and all that, which don't have politics. People want the one they are watching to stop doing it. They don't want to cross over to the other one. Second is limited content. Local sports coverage is too little. That's why they follow international. Children's programs. Wanambani, you know that we have the children's program and local content. The ratios is not being enforced, and then the local content is too little. Too much English. Kizungu ni mingi, mweke vernacular kidogo na Kiswahili. I mean, it's true. I mean, most of you here, you've probably bought a TV for mom or dad or uncle in the village, isn't it? Na kizungu tangu asubuhi mpaka jioni, sasa watafanya namna gani? Give them a little Swahili. Consumer protection. Some adverts are deemed misleading. Kama ya yule mzee wetu wa Busia, anaitwa nani leo? The Muganga. Victor says ni Wakambani alikuja Busia because Busia is notorious with waganga maarufu. That hata Wakambani wameanza. What was the name? Kamaliza. Yeah, there's a Kamaliza guy, and they have even a PR team that stage manages the Uganga and other stuff and all that. So adverts are misleading, but also the normal adverts, corporate adverts, seem to be misleading. Gambling, school assaults and violence. I will pick that because I was summoned a while back about it. I was told, you know, the principle of monkey see, monkey do, isn't it? Shule fulani wamechoma, shule fulani watachoma, isn't it? You know what children do. Tuchome shule tuende nyumbani and all that. So we feel that it's a very delicate, dicey thing. We need to balance between getting information be known and informing other people in a neighboring school that your neighboring school wamechoma shule yao, because then they see wanasema si wale walichoma wakaenda nyumbani, hata sisi tumechoka tuchome yetu and all that, and glorifying violence. Sometimes especially wakati kuna stress, there's a lot of domestic violence, and you will notice anytime we have a case of domestic violence, we will have a spiral of up to 10, then they go down, isn't it? There's always, rarely do we have one standalone. There is one, then there is another one, and then they stop. So there's a feeling that sometime media highlighting such cases, well, of course, we are careful not to, avoid press freedom, or rather to infringe on that. There's a feeling that when media highlights such vices, they encourage other people to do it. Watershed period. See, hapo iko maneno inaonekana. Some soap opera programs and secular songs, and we are getting into some secular songs and political songs. Ziko na matusi. A lot of advertisement in between programs. Bwana SG inaonekana you have a lot of advertisement in between programs. People feel so there are too many adverts in between programs. Anasema they have bills to pay, so lazima weke adverts. And fake news. Increased coverage. Universal Service Fund, accessibility. Find a balance of topics to zijaza siasa sana, and media biases to maintain and express unbiased positions. Local sports. I'm only wondering whether media can cover local sports if there are no local sports. Do we have local sports to be covered? Okay. Yes? Rick does the team in Busia, so okay. I mean, the whole idea is you need to balance if you want media to cover something, isn't it? Is it there on the ground? Do we have football tournaments and all that? FK, F1, Pigana and all that. So get local sports and increase the coverage. And that is all for today. Nipigeni makofi kidogo. Victor, am I allowed to allow one question or one reaction?
Sure, sir.
Anyone who has a burning reaction or thinks that I skipped something or wants to tell us so that in the May survey we include some topic? Professor, but start by promising, Professor, that the two professors' hands are up, that you will tell the professors to also answer questions because they ask questions only. Okay, please, one reaction. Dr.
Thank you very much for this presentation. And I'm hoping that, as we think about the other report in May, that we can do some more analysis around this data. I think just a question for clarification, and I think it goes to your findings around the consumption of TV. I'm interested in what was the average age in this year's report. How does this compare to the average age in 2022? Because that has a bearing on what media they consume. I think if we just spend a little more just understanding the demographic details of your respondents, that will help us understand the findings a little better. Thank you.
Thank you. Another professor has a question.
Thank you so much.
Of the media survey, the report on the public's perception of the media. This was a report that was done by the Media Council of Kenya, and the process started on the 30th of November and ran until the 19th of December. 3,589 respondents were there, and they have given their views on radio, print, TV, online, and the reasons why they consume the media and how much they trust the media. Our reporter is Kamche Medza. She's going to be giving us a full report on that. And that survey has been presented by David Omwoyo, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Media Council of Kenya. And the event was also graced by Principal Secretary Information Esther Koimet. So Kamche Medza will be giving us details of that event, including where there has been an increase in the listenership for Radio Taifa, moving from about 3-4% of those who listen to it to around 11%, and KBC Channel 1. 8% now, down from about 2% of the sample of the number of people who were interviewed from the year 2020 moving on to 2021. A whole change and a full report on that will be coming your way in our lunchtime news and also our consequent bulletins.